I cannot believe how many friends I've made on here. It's literally insane. I think we're at like 50 something thousand subscribers, which is ridiculous. Like, I literally had 4,000 subscribers like 2 weeks ago. And I am incredibly thankful for every last one of you, for every last positive comment and amazing messages. And I genuinely feel like I'm making friends. And I'm genuinely so thankful that this is even happening, guys. Ooh, this is supposed to be an about me video, but I'm over here crying. This is definitely a dream come true. I have always wanted to have a platform to encourage people and love on people, and I will not only be making low-income videos. I promise. I have so much more that I want to share, and in today's video we're going to be talking about me, who I am, so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. So I'm Evelyn. I'm 29 years old, and I am a Cuban Costa Rican. I was born in Costa Rica because my family, which is like my whole family, is Cuban except for me and my sister. They moved to Costa Rica to go to the university, and I was born, and then they moved to Mexico because they had a pastoring opportunity, and my sister was born. Then eventually in like kindergarten, I don't even remember, we moved to the United States. So I feel like I'm fully almost American because I lived here most of my life. And so yeah, but I technically feel like I'm more Cuban than anything else because that's just like, you know, how I grew up. Our food was always Cuban. My family's fully Cuban. Our culture, everything about me is Cuban. So eventually we moved to Chicago. I was in kindergarten. And from there, we moved to Tampa, which is the Clearwater area. I was there from 3rd grade to 8th grade. And then we moved to Miami. And so I was in Miami from 8th grade to after I graduated high school. So I would consider myself someone who grew up in Miami. Both of my parents, we hopped around a lot because they were pastors. They weren't necessarily missionaries, but every time like we would move, there was an opportunity to create a Hispanic or a Spanish branch of a church, and so we would move to do so. So I moved around a lot growing up. Eventually, when I graduated high school, I moved to Orlando because I went to school there. I did film and I went to Full Sail. And so I moved to Orlando. That's where eventually I met my husband at church. And when I met him, we started dating. I feel like we got married pretty fast. I think it was like within 2 years because we just knew. I know it's cheesy, but we did. And eventually from there I moved again to Lakeland, which is where I like started my whole married life with my husband. And you know, so here we are now. Eventually we moved to Nashville because my husband is a musician and that is the career path that he wants to pursue. He's amazing at all things musician. He's a producer. Like he's so talented. And if you guys want to check him out, I'll link him below. His artist name is Toast. So yeah, a little bit more about me is I am a first-time mom. My son is a toddler. He's 19 months now. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. I've always wanted to be a mom, always. Like, I love kids. Even before my son, I was the one who was serving in church with the kids. I was smiling at the kids at the store. I've always just had a huge heart for kids, and so now having my own is incredible and crazy. Like, it's so hard to even put into words how much I love him. He's my best friend. And so like that part of me is why like I started sharing a lot about my mom life on social media. It's just because it brings me so much joy and it's such a crazy interesting journey. And so now we're here in Nashville. I love to thrift. I've always been somebody who likes to get things secondhand. I'm a very frugal person. I'm somebody who likes to look for all of the deals before getting like, you know, the purchase. And I definitely have learned along the way because of my husband that it's okay to spend a little bit of more money for quality. So even though I am frugal, I definitely know that it's okay to spend money when it's something you either love or want the best quality, and that's okay. Life is all about balance. So that's why you'll definitely see like pretty much like all of my clothes are thrifted, but when it comes to certain things like our coffee gear, like that's like an expensive espresso machine because that's what my husband loves to do. And so again, everything's about balance. I love talking about mental health. that is something that eventually I'm going to definitely be making videos about. I struggled with social anxiety for a lot of my life. I struggled with very low self-esteem. I went to therapy and I learned so much about me, and I'm so glad I did, because I am a completely different person since that. I actually started like growing on social media when I started to talk about my social anxiety journey, and I have a TikTok all about it, so if you guys want to follow it, I'll leave that below. But I love mental health. Like, after I started going to therapy and like unlocking all of these things that I like had no idea about, I just honestly, like, if I could be a therapist, I would have in a second life. And so that's something that I definitely want to eventually talk about, because I feel like if I can encourage people with my story, I will. And so, yeah, I love personality tests. I am a very people person. I'm an empath. I love people so much, and I want to love on people so much. And obviously sometimes that's something that you have to be very cautious with balancing that too, because that also leads to like people pleasing and, you know, overextending yourself too. And so like I've learned to have a balance where like I definitely want to make sure that I'm loving on people and always being kind, while also having boundaries and standing up for myself. And so all the things that I want to be like talking about on this page. I love wearing matching sets. They're so cute because I feel like they're the easiest thing to throw on, especially being home with my son all the time. I want to be comfy, but I also want to look cute without any effort. So pretty much you'll always see me wearing a matching set. I worked in the film industry after graduating college for a few years. I've worked on a lot of television shows. I used to work at Universal Studios in their production department, so I did commercials, and it was so much fun. Like, I was a production assistant, so I just literally did anything that they needed to on set. That's another thing that if you guys are interested in, I can definitely make a video about all the things I've worked on, because I feel like that like portion of my life was so cool, but it's definitely not something that I wanted to do long term, because you have to be on set so many hours. And so eventually I moved into the social media world because it's something that I'm good at, something that I love to do, and I've been doing since I started this YouTube channel in like 2009. And so eventually this is what became my job, because I realized there were so many actual jobs hiring for it. And when I finally got my first job professionally in social media, I was like, oh, like, this is where it's at. Like, it's so fun. It's so like me. It's something that I'm so good at. Plus I was able to use my skills in film, photography, and editing, and all the things that like I learned in school, but in a different capacity. So that's how I got into social media, and I've been doing it ever since, like as a job. But then I never really had the time to do it like for myself, like consistently, until I lost my job and then was forced to. And honestly, I am so glad that that happened, just because I was forced to do something that was extremely hard and challenging, that like I would have definitely not done if it wasn't for that. And so now I'm so excited to be here, and I cannot wait to keep making more videos. If you do have any questions like further of anything about me, please ask them below. I would love to make another like video, like either doing a Q&A or talking more about myself. I feel like I can go on rants forever, so if there's something that you want to know that I didn't talk about, I would love to know. Thank you for being here. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.